as well. And now we welcome in Greg Young. He is the voice of not only the California Cougars, but now the #1 man for the Modesto Nuts. Greg, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I would venture to say this is the best dressed my guests have ever been, and I think you might take the cake. We've had some slick-looking guests on the show today, but thanks for coming, really, and certainly the attire as well, looking good.
Hey, my friends at Via Moda, they helped us out, so yes, thank you.
No problem. Looks good. I mentioned now the #1 man for the Modesto Nuts. Last year you were the home guy, #2, did the middle 3 innings for home games for the Nuts. Just named the #1 guy. What does that mean to you now to add that to also being the Cougars broadcaster as well?
I don't want to say it's like a dream come true, but in a sense it is. You know, I mean, the goal was to start off in minor league baseball, kind of climb the ranks from there, and obviously work with the California Cougars and kind of learn from everything that I'm doing there. And it's exciting. I mean, it really is exciting. And it all kind of came together in the past week and a half or so. So it's all real fresh, and we'll see where it goes.
I know you're a graduate of Sacramento State, so still kind of in the home area, if you will. You know, in Stockton, now you used to kind of get to marry Stockton and Modesto. You also have done some work on the interview shows on ESPN 970, you know, doing the sports updates and whatnot, much like Mike. So, you know, you're keeping yourself pretty diverse between soccer, baseball, doing the update side of things as well. Down the road, do you want to be a baseball guy, or do you have a specific sport?
You know what? I'm not sure. Baseball, I think when I originally had the idea of maybe getting into this kind of stuff, yeah, baseball is what I wanted to do. But indoor soccer is a ton of fun. And, you know, I mean, hockey is the same type of sport in the sense that it moves so fast. Basketball is the same. So, and I almost think that in some situations I might be better at the faster sport like that. Just, you know, personal critique of myself. So, yeah, basketball, something like that, that'd be fun. Football, I would love to do football as well. But baseball, I think, is the #1 goal.
As I mentioned, a graduate of Sacramento State, you took a class there that was basically a play-by-play class, trying to kind of learn the nuances. Mark Dembski, who's on Fox 40, able to teach that class. And the Cougars, a couple years back, had a contest. They basically brought in broadcasters from that class, gave you guys a shot at doing some Cougars action, had the fans vote on it. You won and got on. It was kind of a version of American Idol, I guess, if you will, for broadcasters. I would imagine that was an interesting experience, and probably felt pretty good that the fans, you know, because broadcasting is so subjective. You were talking about a critique of yourself. Probably some games you think you do pretty well, and other games you're probably down on yourself, and it's sometimes hard to listen to yourself. But to hear other people, unbiased for the most part, say they liked you the best, and to get a job out of that, probably worked out pretty well for yourself.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Yeah, just having the chance to know that the fans respect what I do. That's the most important thing. You know, more so than me enjoying what I do, and you know, going back and listening to the call, like you said, and critiquing myself and being upset with it, just to know that the fans at least have enough respect to trust me with the games and want to listen and continue to listen. And you know, having fans recite back the way that I called a play or something like that, it's been amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure a little bizarre. I know at Sacramento State called baseball, softball, basketball, football, a little bit of everything, but also some mainstream stuff where indoor soccer is maybe not as mainstream. Not as many people are aware of that. I know you guys at the Cougars are trying to make that happen. I was reading an article on yourself, and you said, well, yeah, I hadn't done any soccer. I give you a lot of credit because it certainly doesn't sound like that, and clearly you know, did your homework, learned the game. And indoor soccer is, I don't know if I would say it's nothing like the outdoor game, but there's certainly a lot of differences, a lot of nuances in the indoor game that are not in the outdoor game. What was that process like, trying to maybe crash course and learn indoor soccer so quickly? Clearly you've honed it since then because you've seen the team on a day in and day out basis, but those early days of trying to get ready for indoor soccer calling.
It was scary. I mean, I'll be honest, it was very scary. You know, and I never played soccer. I never had the chance to follow outdoor soccer, never really became a fan of it. And I think had the situation been different and maybe this had been an outdoor professional team, I think I would have struggled a great deal. But being that it is indoor and it's something new, and not necessarily something new, but something at least in the fans out here in this area in the Central Valley, it's new to them. The fans on the East Coast is a little bit different. It's been around for 20+ years. They've known indoor soccer for a long time. There's a strong history there in places like Baltimore, Philadelphia, Milwaukee. But at least out here, it's fresh. So I think that sort of, you know, was good for me in the sense that it's new for them, it's new for me. So it all kind of marriage came together pretty quick.
Now, of course, the team has struggled here in the early years from a wins and losses standpoint. This year got off to a very good start, though. 7-4, things certainly were looking up. Hit by a rash of injuries, maybe as many as I can remember on a professional team. And for that matter, you look at the Stockton Thunder as an aside, they've had so many guys called up. You know, the two tenants of the arena have just had their rosters turned over so much. But from a soccer standpoint, you've lost so many guys to injury. Certainly Bernie Littlevoss tried to make moves to shore things up. But when you start losing at the rate the team has, the players to injury, it's hard to keep up. So a 7-4 start is now an 8-15 overall mark, which means it's 11 out of 12 losses for the squad with 7 to go. You know, it's hard not to get involved as a broadcaster because you do see the team on a daily basis, and be completely down when the team's 1-11 as opposed to being completely up. I'm sure you have to find that balance that, you want to get high and excited when they're good, but at the same time you can't be monotone and the world's ending, the sky's falling when the team is struggling. How do you try and balance that, especially during this very difficult stretch for the team?
Well, unfortunately, I was kind of used to it, I guess you could say. I mean, after last season,
Sure.
the team just wasn't very good. And 10-20 the first year, 7-23 last year. So, I mean, I saw all the downs last year, and it was easy for me to get extremely excited when the team got off to such a great start. And it was difficult to kind of come back down and see them start losing again. But it's a great group of guys. It's a lot of fun to broadcast the games, win or lose. It's a great sport. It's fast. It's fun. Extremely physical, much more physical than I think people actually realize. And that led into a lot of the injuries that happened with the team this year. But yeah, it's been kind of a roller coaster. But they'll bounce back, and the season isn't over.
Sure.
I mean, you go on a 7-0 run at this point of the final 7 games. 15-15 will most likely get you into that number 6 spot. So it starts this weekend. They got New Jersey at home. So we'll see how it goes.
Let's talk a little about the travel. We've gone into that with some of our other broadcasters who've been on. From the Cougars standpoint, you're taking a lot of long-distance plane flights. You're going to New Jersey, you're going to Orlando, Chicago, where I know some of the other guys are, Zach's mainly just on the bus. Mike Miller, if you look at the Big West, he's mainly just in California, maybe some non-league games for Pacific where he's taking the long plane flights. So you have a lot of, virtually everything's a long flight, maybe with Monterey being the exception. Now you're going to go into baseball as well, where you're going to be back to just the bus trips, really, no flights. Let's talk about the flight side of things, because you're losing that time. You're going through time zones. You're going pretty far away. What's that travel like for you as a broadcaster trying to prepare for those games?
It's a grind. It's a grind. I mean, you think it'd be easy, just open up the laptop on the planes, do your studying there, but it's just really not like that. But it is definitely a grind, and it's tough for me, but I can't complain. I'm not the one on the playing field playing. I mean, these guys go through it with every game that they play. And you and I talked about it earlier this year when the Sharks came to town to play us from Orlando. Our team had just been there recently, and that very same weekend, it was a night game on a Friday in Orlando and a morning game in New Jersey.
Right.
It's tough.
That was insane. That was one of the worst I've ever heard as far as the back-to-back.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, the flights are hard. It's a privilege, though, and I am extremely, extremely happy to be a part of it, having the opportunity to travel the country, see all these different places, see great arenas like the Prudential Center in New Jersey, brand new building, state-of-the-art place where the Devils play. So stuff like that, it's been great. It's hard, but it's great.
What's been the best part of this run with the Cougars now, 2 years for yourself, or even with the Nuts? I know, as we said, you were the home guy last year for 3 innings and will be this year. What's the best part of it so far for these first couple of years?
Fan reaction, fan support. Having people recognize what you do and respect it, that's truly been amazing to me. I mean, I'm having a blast doing it. I get to know the players and be able to call these games and do something that I've dreamed about doing and never thought I'd make it this far. So just having people respect what I do and and give me, some credit for doing it. That's been the best part.
When you're a youngster too, we talked to Zach Beirut. He's going to turn 25. You're 25 as well, right? Yeah. So already at a great start to have the 2 jobs that you do. In addition, of course, to being the radio voice from the Cougar standpoint, you're also the director of media relations and broadcasting for the first time last year, just on the radio side of things as well.
Right.
How do you look at that side of it? Because there's so many jobs at the minor leagues and at the lower professional levels where the guy in the radio booth has to do that as well. I understand that's part of the job. But do you, take that as another challenge and look forward to that? Or is it kind of a hindrance because certainly you want to be a radio guy down the road?
No, it's not a hindrance whatsoever. And actually the nicest thing about it, especially this season, and like you said, last year with the Cougars, I was strictly just radio. Show up on game day and do the game, maybe go to practice every once in a while and see what's going on with the team. But this year, having the chance to work full-time for the team and know that the information that's coming about the players, whether it be them signing or where they played, things like that, and creating profiles on the website, that helped me a lot. And you mentioned, learning the game quickly. I think this year that helped more than anything is having that dual role. I don't know if maybe it'll translate the same in baseball.
Sure.
I would hope that it would. But baseball's a grind, 140 games, and there aren't very many days off. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a learning experience, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
so finally you're going to kind of go from a 6-month, 7-month year announcing job. Certainly, and I know you did the Nuts stuff last year as well. Don't want to downgrade that, but you're going to pretty much have a 12-month gig now. You ready for it?
I think so, yeah. Why not? I mean, it's what I want to do, so I got to be ready for it, right?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So we'll talk to you August. See how the Pipes are doing. But, as you said, hey, I'm sure there are hundreds of thousands of people who wouldn't mind doing either one of these jobs, and you're doing both of them. I think that says something as well, and certainly what you've been able to do with the Cougars now in your 2 years and now in your second year with the Nuts, I'm sure it'll go quite well, and sounds like it'll be a lot of fun for yourself.
I think it will be. It's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Greg, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much
thank
for
you.
coming by. I really appreciate it. No problem.
Thank you.